Spider-Man, Brand New Day. This is a spoiler review. I have a review on soundedbettermyhead.com. That's spoiler free, so if you want to check that out, you probably should, because I'm going to go pretty deep in the spoilers here. I gave this a 3 out of 5, which was slightly generous. I enjoyed the movie. I was having a pretty good time watching it. I just felt like this general story and vibe, just story overall and everything that was happening, it was kind of forgettable. Like, it felt like nothing that significant really happened to Spider-Man going forward. I think I've used this analogy on something else before, but it's like sometimes you spend time with your good friends and you have fun, and sometimes something crazy happens that's just memorable, something that you talk about for the rest of your life, and then sometimes you just have a good time and you just say, yeah, that was fun. I don't really remember the specifics, but that was a good day with my friends. It's kind of how this Spider-Man felt. Like, it was mostly, had a good day with my friend Spider-Man, but I'm probably not going to remember like a lot of the details going forward. Some of that is a pacing issue. I think there was some interesting stuff here that you would start getting into it, like, okay, I'm into this, and then we'd move on to the next bit, and then we'd have to move on to another bit. There was a lot of moving parts to this, and it just felt really, really dense. And again, every time you started kind of getting into the storyline, it's like, no, now this transitions to this. And then I don't think any of them really had any significant payoffs where you're like, okay, that was worth it. They all came together in the end, and this is why, they did it. As far as the major storylines, the Jean Grey stuff, I think it was weak. You're introducing a major X-Men character here, and Jean's never been anything particularly tied to Spider-Man. The only X-Men I really remember being tied to Spider-Man would be like an Iceman, because they're about the same age, so it's like, okay. And the Iceman was in the classic Spider-Man cartoon, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But so Jean's never been a Spider-Man character. There's a weird way to want to introduce her. It didn't feel like anything that happened with her was going to be important to Spider-Man going forward. Like, I'd be shocked to see like Jean and Spider-Man hanging out in other Spider-Man movies. I mean, yeah, maybe they'll be in an Avengers movie and they're like, hey, we know each other. But even in the end of that, like, Jean just kind of hops on a bus and she's out of there. It's just like no setup for her going to like the X-Men, no setup what's going on with her character. So like, we introduced her, and that's all we're gonna do. Someone else has to pick up the ball and run with it. And then just as a character, it was supposed to be a surprise who the bad guy was. Everyone kind of knew it was Jean going in. I was really hoping there was another telepath, even like a Shadow King or something, because Jean's never had a body hopping ability as far as I know in the comics, so that was kind of a weird addition. So I'm like, well, maybe that's someone else, because some of the stuff they're doing is pretty dark. I mean, they put bombs in this tank after I could see, okay, you want to crash through the wall to damage control, so you got a tank. But then there was explosives in there. Could have like got a lot of people killed with that thing. Just the move she did that was just a dick move, which MJ, which made Spider-Man think she remembered him, and then she actually was just Jean fucking with him. And even he said that's messed up, and it kind of was. Like, and again, we know her sister's in trouble. She's trying to rescue her sister. I know she's desperate to get there, but so she's kind of crossing some lines in this movie. And then the end is just kind of like, I'll talk you down. Here's a woman you've never met giving me advice in my head, and I guess you just take the same advice from this random lady you never met. And again, it only works a little bit because Jean is not a villain. And that's the other thing. Once you know it's Jean, you immediately know Damage Control is the bad guys. It's like they've already been shady as it is in all the Marvel appearances they've had, but then you add, Jean Grey is traditionally a hero. Just like the one Spider-Man movie with Mysterio, he's a villain. I don't care how many times they're trying to make you think him and Spider-Man are teaming up and they're good guys. He's a villain, and you're just waiting for the reveal. That's a spoiler for another Spider-Man movie, by the way, but hopefully you've seen that one by now. The other major thing going on is the mutations that Peter goes through, and it's just, again, it doesn't add up to anything. It's just like, okay, he's got these things, he wants to inhibit it, which does lead to the inhibitor chip, which he does allow him to temporarily capture Jean Grey. But it seemed like you could have gotten an inhibitor chip another way. Because otherwise, it's like, okay, I'm getting these new powers. I'm trying to fight them, trying to suppress them. Then, hey, you know what? I'm gonna embrace them. Now I'm like a better Spider-Man. I got like, I'm like better at what I do. It's like I don't feel like it's gonna come out outside of the organic web shooters. I don't see it coming up more often that he's, oh yeah, but I'm a more powerful Spider-Man than I was before because I embrace these new abilities. And then just a lot of unintentional, probably callbacks to like Spider-Man 2, where in that film, and the spoiler for Spider-Man 2 from way back in the day, Spider-Man's emotional state caused him to lose his powers altogether. And here you got Spider-Man's emotional states causing his powers to fluctuate. And then putting an inhibitor chip on the back of your neck, which is similar to Doc Ock's inhibitor chip, which he used to control his arms. It's like, well, like, okay, we kind of seen this before, and it's not really going anywhere. And then the other final big story thing is Spider-Man dealing with his friend's memory loss of him, and that's the most solid part. That's an organic follow-up from the last film. I think it works for the most part. I think he's interacting with his friends, even though they don't remember him, but it all works. Like, he's working with MJ. She knows how awkward the thing is, but they still all have that chemistry together. The only slight downside is they didn't totally resolve it. It's kind of like just left it hanging. It wasn't like MJ's like, look, I don't remember you. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I just want to move on with my life. Just like, I don't know. They're in this weird space where like they're not friends again, but they still don't know him, and he's gonna try to get to know him. It just kind of wasn't bad. I'm just like, I wish we'd had a tiny bit more to that. But it does give you something to go with Spider-Man going forward if we get more Spider-Man. As far as some of the other characters, Punisher was fine for what they needed him to do. He really wasn't super necessary for the movie, and he wasn't that much help. I mean, he was zero help in the fight with the Hulk, outside of being a distraction. I did like that they mostly didn't water him down. Like, he wasn't saying fuck or nothing, but he was saying shit, and goddamn it, and he was talking like Frank from the the Netflix shows and the other Marvel shows. And he's always willing to take the shot to kill the bad guy if that's what it takes. It was a little weird because Punisher's kind of considered like a mass murderer, and he's a wanted man, so he's pretty freely walking and driving around like New York and going to hospitals and going to different places as the Punisher, and no one even better than I. So that was a little continuity discrepancy. The other thing I did like, thought the movie did a really good job, and this is why I enjoyed being in this movie, watching this movie, kind of sitting there, is that I thought they did a really good job of kind of taking a soft reboot of Spider-Man. It really felt like Spider-Man. Just the way he's fighting criminals and using his powers, and this like kind of callbacks to like some of the Sony games, which really kind of redefined, I think, how Spider-Man moves and fights and web swings and all that stuff. And just, he's got a cop friend that helps him out. This just really felt like kind of like that vibe from the comic book of Spider-Man at the top of his game, doing what Spider-Man normally does. The only twist is Spider-Man's very rarely a beloved figure in the city. Like, he's always, especially with the Daily Bugle, he's always painted as like this villain. A lot of people hate him. So it's kind of weird to see him beloved. But I mean, it's happened. It's happened in the past. He has been moments where everybody's like, a big fan of his. Trying to think if there's anything else major I want to talk about. Oh, the Hulk. Hulk, again, it was fine. Hopefully this means going forward that he is the Hulk. They didn't really explain. We know that Banner got control of the Hulk and they were fused. We know that because of an injury from the Infinity Gauntlet, he wasn't healing right, so he had to turn himself back to Banner, so he had to wear a special inhibitor. And even when the inhibitor was off again, he turned back into Smart Hulk. So it's like, they were kind of acting like he was already Savage Hulk again if he took the thing off. It was definitely clear that he was being controlled by Jean initially. And then he even says it feels like she broke something. But he was acting like, oh yeah, this inhibitor comes off, you better watch out. I'm like, why? You just turned back into Smart Hulk. Again, that was felt like another kind of continuity error. And the fight between the Hulk and Spider-Man was fine. That's the thing about a lot of the action scenes, a lot of fights. A lot of it's just kind of Spider-Man dealing with proxies to get to the bad guy who ends up being Jean Grey. So it's not, It's like, I don't know, the Avengers are going to fight Doctor Doom pretty soon. It's like, oh, instead we're going to fight all his minions, and then we never even fight Doctor Doom. It's just like, every fight was just like, this felt more like a distraction to something else. Like, okay, he's fighting the Scorpion, but it's really just because he's still trying to get to Jean. He's fighting Hulk, but it's really, he's still trying to stop Jean. It's just like a lot of her throwing stuff at him, where it's like, okay, you got to get past this fight to get to this. It never felt like the fight was like that important. This fight's like a just diversion to just keep him from doing something else. And then, because the only other major thing I want to talk about is the post-credit scene, which, to be honest, was just garbage. It's just the spider tracker says Spider-Man's not on Earth anymore. So what? Is that the next movie? Is that the Avengers? Like, it's so vague. It's like, I don't care. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, they could just say, well, no, we were setting up Spider-Man's the next movie, or no, we were setting up something else. And it was just so random. And it doesn't even make sense that this tracker would be able to track Spider-Man into space. And also, I thought we were supposed to get this more grounded Spider-Man. Like, it ends, he's got no tech. All he's got is like this homemade costume that he made, and he's fighting crime. But now he's got this AI helping him again. He's got like a lot of like advanced tech. No idea where he has all this money. Like, he's got like this apartment. He's got all this computer equipment. Like, he doesn't seem to have any kind of a job. He just runs around as Peter Parker during the day getting some errands done, and then he's Spider-Man the rest of the time. So I don't, it's never explained where he gets money. That's not that big of a deal, but when you set him up as that, you know, that kind of grounded character that's got to like just use scraps to get by, and then it's like, nah, now he's got tech again. It's like, okay, you kind of contradicted yourself. But yeah, that's it. That's it. I could probably find a way to talk about this movie forever, because this is like the kind of stuff that I like. So, again, I got the spoiler-free version of the review up. I got some other movie reviews. I got TV show reviews. I got a comic strip that I do, and all that stuff's over at soundofbetterinmyhead.com. So if you want to check any of that stuff out, that's awesome. And other than that, thanks for watching.